My name is Joanne Caruso, and I'm excited to have co-authored this amazing book, Purpose and Passion. My chapter is a mini memoir of my life so far, from being a single mum to three amazing daughters, to opening my own company at the age of 52 and everything in between. I touch on how I went from the corporate world to the world of colonics, and I talk about the effect of losing both my dad and sister had on my life. I'm going to read a short extract from my chapter, which I titled Igniting My Fire, My Path to Purpose and Passion. Many of us go through life wondering what our purpose is. I've always had a feeling that my purpose was bigger than me and that I am here on this earth to make a difference in whatever it was I would end up doing. I didn't know exactly what that purpose was, but I knew one day it would find me. Discovering my passion was more of a puzzle. I invested a lot of time and money in learning new things, as I really didn't know what my passion was or how to find it. And still today, I find myself consistently trying new things, as I never know when I will find something else that will ignite a new spark. Sometimes we know we want to make changes to our life or career in order to discover our purpose and passion, but the what to do is always $1 million question. Sometimes, however, events happen that force us to make changes. When someone gets married, they don't have divorce on their mind. But after 11 years of marriage, I found myself divorced at 35 with three young daughters aged 3, 5, and 7 to support. Back then, there was no such thing as flexible working arrangements. Well, not where I was working. So after being a stay-at-home mum for over 5 years, I returned to the paid workforce as a full-time employee. Before my maternity leave, I had worked for two Melbourne newspapers in the HR department, a career I started at 17, straight out of high school. It wasn't a career I chose, as I actually wanted to join the police force. I continued my studies with evening classes twice a week to gain the qualifications I found I needed for my career, 3 years at TAFE and then university. After my first daughter was born, I went back to full-time work, and shortly after, I was pregnant again with my second daughter. I remember leaving for work one day, heavily pregnant, coming out of the driveway, slamming on the brakes and thinking, I can't do this anymore. Resigning was an easy decision because having two daughters 23 months apart and trying to hold down a career was tough. 20 months later, my third daughter arrived. Being a stay-at-home mum had its challenges too. As a mother, I questioned if I was maternal enough because how I was with my children looked totally different to how my mother was with me. My mother was raised to be and accepted her role as a stay-at-home wife and mother, whereas I was given different opportunities and wanted both family and career. I found housework boring and unfulfilling, and I yearned for adult conversation. There were many times I wished my sisters had children so we could share advice and find common ground, just like what I saw with my parents and aunts and uncles and the dozens of cousins I grew up with. For much of this period in my life, I felt lonely and found this to be an emotionally challenging time. I didn't know where I belonged. I felt my whole identity had disappeared and that an imposter had taken over. Who was I? Who had I become?